Now let's begin level 5 practice problem. Level 5 practice problem focus on use of reference geometry, like creating plane at an angle, or you can say creating the axis and point to model your part. Now in this practice problem 5.1, we first use this top sketch to create the extrusion. Then we are going to create a plane passing through from the midpoint, and on that plane we are going to create this cross section and then extrude in both directions by the end reference. So start new sketch on top plane. Shortcut key, use center point rectangle tool and enter the dimensions as given. Again, let's use shortcut key and use the sketch fillet to create the sketch fillet at opposite corner. Now let's also try the chamfer. So here it is of 18 by 18. So click over here. Now let's draw line to create the chamfer. So from here to here it is of 54. And the angle between inclined line and top edge is 35. Now let's use trim command, and please make sure you have checked these options. Now let's trim this part. This is the reason is to maintain this dimensional reference. Now let's draw circles. Now diameter is 10. Let's make them equal. Press shortcut key S and extrude, and the thickness is 4. Now let's create the custom plane. So select reference geometry and plane. So select this first reference and make it perpendicular. Now second reference is midpoint. And third is this. So we have created a plane passing through midpoint perpendicular to this surface as well as this surface. So let's click OK. Now let's draw sketch over here. Let's make this arc and the bottom edge tangent. Let's add angle 112. This is 14 and this radius is 12. Now let's see, select this line and this arc, let's make them tangent. Also select this and select this line and make it coincident. Now let's go to feature and create 3 extrusion. Thickness would be 4. Upside, and let's create extrusions. So first direction is up to vertex is this, and in second direction same up to vertex for this side, and right click. Now let's hide the custom plane. Now let's find the volume. Here it is 28862, which is a complete match with the solution answer. Now in problem 5.2, we'll draw this base plate on top view along with these holes and center boss. And we are going to create a custom plane passing through from this axis at an angle given at 30 degree. On that plane, we are going to draw the rib, which is extended to the center. And lastly, we are going to remove this material. Start sketch on top plane. Shortcut key, use center rectangle tool. Here it is 64 by 132. Shortcut key again, fillet, given 6, select entire rectangle and right click. Shortcut key again, drop the circles. Now let's make them equal. Select the circles and make them equal. Also draw two circles having diameter 24 and 32. Now shortcut key and extrude. This time we are going to use the outer region and along with this circle. Now the thickness is 5. Now let's expand, reuse same sketch, and this time let's extrude this circle of 32 diameter. Now the height is 18. Now to create custom plane passing through the center axis, we need to start displaying the temporary axis. So go over here and click on this. So that will show you the temporary axis. Now go to plane, select that axis first, and second reference is this, and make sure angle is selected and then enter the 30 degree. Now flip the offset so we can start sketching over here. So it is now fully defined, so you can click OK to create the plane. Now select on sketch. Now here let's create a rib. Now the dimensions which is given from here to here is 45. So select this edge and this, make sure coincident, and you can extend, and also you can see the angle is required. So you can join up to axis. Now the angle is, so let's look at the normal. So from here to here, the angle is given as 162. It is not necessary to extend the rib up to center axis. You can extend by at least 0.5 or 1 millimeter. So the part which is material which is going to be created over here at this circular portion, which simply should match with the given sketch in PDF. Now let's you click on rib feature. Now this small arrow is pointing downward. That means it is going to add material in this direction, which is correct. Now it is also selected the mid plane thickness, means thickness will be across the middle point. So the thickness is given as 9 and click OK. Now see, this is the problem. So we need to extend this point inside the material. So let's edit the sketch. Instead, let's click it and extend this material up to like this, because it is controlled by the angle. So it doesn't matter how much you go inside. Clear? Now let's say instead now let's give some dimensions over here. let's say 2 millimeter. And also let's convert into construction geometry. Okay, so let's exit. Now the neck area is perfect. So let's hide the custom plane. Now let's create the mirror image. So use the right plane and the rib and click on mirror. Along with secondary plane, let's use front plane. So this will create the mirror of features at a time on with respect to both the plane. Now let's turn off the custom axis display. Now again, let's reuse the same sketch and create the extrude cut. This time we need to select the center circle and let's flip and click on through all. Now let's measure the volume. So volume is 48824, which is correct. In problem 5.3, we're going to draw this base plate in top plane and will extrude along with the slot. Then we are going to create the custom plane, and on that plane we are going to draw the sketch to complete the model. Start sketching on top plane. Shortcut key, center rectangle. Now this is 62, press tab key and 88. Also let's add the sketch chamfer. Distance is 6 by 6, but here it is given as 6 by 45. So let's select. Now let's add the slot, straight slot. Here let's take the add dimensions. So this dimension is 41 and width is 6. Also from this edge to this edge distance is 8. Second, from here to here the distance is given as 10.50. Now let's create the mirror. For that we need to draw center line. So select the sketch, press Ctrl and deselect this line. Click on mirror, select on mirror line and right click. Now let's press escape and create the extrusion. The depth is 7. Now let's create the custom plane, passing through center axis of this bottom arc and top arc. So we need an axis. So for that, let's turn on the display of temporary axis. So click on reference geometry and plane, select this first axis and second axis. So here it says it is fully defined. So let's click OK. Now select this plane 1 and click on sketch. Now let's draw the geometry. Now let's add thickness. Here it is 4. This is 20. Angle from horizontal edge is 36. And from axis to this point exactly at 20 as given in top view. Now you need to look at on this part. If you look at very carefully the sectional view, so from here to here the 8 mm distance is given. Rotated detail view, if you see, the width of this extrusion is 14, That means the radius will be 70. So from here to here, they're going to 7, and from here it is going to 8. So total is 15. Clear? So let's draw a line over here, axis, and from here to here it is 8. And from here to here, it need to be 7. Clear? So either you can give it total 15, but I just want to include this dimension because it is given. So in parametric modeling, let's suppose in future if this is changes to 5, then it will reflect the design intent. So let's press escape and extrude. This time I will choose midplane and it will be 14. Now let's turn off the display of custom plane along with the temporary axis. Now this time I will use a fillet, especially this option, full round fillet, where I have to select this, right click, top surface, right click, look at the color coding, and the third, and right click. So it is going to create a full round. Or you can also create by drawing semicircular and remove the part material. But here with the single feature, we can accomplish same results. Now select over here and click to start the new sketch. Now draw a circle having diameter 8. Shortcut key and extrude cut. Let's select up to next and click OK. Now let's measure the volume. So volume is 40316, which is correct answer. In problem 5.4, we'll draw the sketch in front plane. Then we are going to draw these two bracket extrusions at a custom plane, where it is passing through the midpoint of this line and this line, and perpendicular to that surface, inclined surface. So start sketch on front plane. Let's draw a circle having diameter 18. Sorry, cut. Now let's draw second circle whose diameter is 36. Let's draw one more over here. Again, diameter is 12. And from over here, it is again having diameter 8. Now let's draw diameter 16. And over here it is 24. Please read the dimensions and its symbols. Now let's add central distance. This is 82. From here to here it is 48. Now let's draw the tangent line. Now let's add angle, which is 22. Now let's also add the radius at this junction of 42. Now let's remove the unwanted part of our outer circles. Now let's use shortcut key to extrude. Instead midplane, let's use blind condition, and thickness is 8. Now let's create custom plane. So click on reference geometry, this top surface, and we want a plane perpendicular to it. Second reference will be this midpoint, and third reference would be this surface. So exactly the new plane will be created perpendicular to this surface and passing through from this midpoint. Now let's sketch. So from here, now let's add dimensions. So from here to here it is 48. Outer diameter radius is 12. Let's make this tangent. An angle from here to here is 78. Now let's draw circle of diameter 12. Press a shortcut key and extrude. This time we are going to extrude in a different direction, but having thickness 6. Now let's hide this plane. Similarly, let's create a plane over here, custom plane. So click on reference geometry, plane, select this surface, make sure it is perpendicular. Second reference is this point and third is this one, and right click. Now start new plane, sketch on that. So let's start. Sometimes SolidWorks behave in a different way. So we need to orient the model in proper direction. Now let's look at the normal. Make sure this is coincident with bottom face, and this is, pick this line and this line, make them collinear. Now let's make them tangent. Now let's add dimensions. Here from bottom, let's take like this, is 46. And this radius is 8. Let's draw circle having diameter 8. And the angle from here to here is 74. Rotate the view and check that everything is okay. Now let's extrude. This time let's add the thickness 6. Now let's measure the volume. Here it is 55986, which is completely different from the given answer. So there must be some problem in sketching. So let's go back and check the sketch one by one. So in first feature, it is 48, 82, 36, 18. All right. So there is no error in first sketch. Now let's try second. Now here, yes, 48 is from bottom. So let's edit that sketch. So let's cancel this and add the dimension from here to here. It is 48. Now let's exit and again measure the mass property. Now it is 54372, which is complete match with the solution answer. Though the answer is match, but I missed one important thing is, if you look at on detail C, the custom plane must be created at 34 unit distance from the center axis, which I haven't considered. So let's try to incorporate that missing part in this exercise. So let's go back. Also roll back to the plane creation. Here click on, now let's draw center line from here to here only. Or if you wish, you can just extend to. Now give the distance 34 and make sure it is perpendicular to this edge. Similarly, let's draw another center line. Select this and this, let's make them perpendicular. Now distance from here to here is 34. Now let's exit. Again, now let's edit this plane. So this is my first reference. This is second reference. Okay. Now it is fully defined. Now let's roll back and see how the extrusion is created. So it is completely going in a different directions. So let's correct the sketch error. Click on edit. So here there is a problem. So these red geometric constraints are problematic. So we need to delete them. Now let's rotate the entities. And this time I will choose this center point. Okay. So let's click OK and okay, let's delete this distance and drag it over here. Or if you wish, you can just go and create new sketch, no problem. Let's make this vertical. Now let's add dimensions from here to here. It is 48. Now let's try to fix these positions. So here, select this line and align it. Now let's exit. So same way, let's do for the second plane. Let's make sure it is turned on. Now let's edit the plane. Instead of this, let's remove all this. Now make sure you have selected the first reference. So this is our first reference. Let's make perpendicular. Second reference is this axis. Now it is fully defined. So let's click OK. Now let's roll back. So we need to make sure the sketch is okay. Remove these all sketches. Now let's redraw. So from here, okay. Now let's add the distance from bottom to top is 46. This is given as 8. Make sure this is tangent. Let's draw a circle whose diameter is 8. And lastly, let's add the angle. And this angle is 74. Let's exit. Now let's turn on the display of this custom plane. You can also hide the center axis sketch. Now let's measure the volume. So it is 54372, which is correct answer. In practice problem 5.6, first we are going to create this circular region, and then we are going to create a custom plane from this top plane at a distance of 25. And on that plane, we are going to create this bottom circular part and extrude up to surface. Same way we use this one, and we are going to create a custom plane to create this protrusion part. So start new sketch on front. The width is 12. Now let's create a custom plane. Select this top plane, press Ctrl and drag it. Now add the dimensions 25. So from the center, this is located at 25 and click OK. Now start sketching. So here the outer diameter is 12 for reference and inside diameter is 8. Let's extrude selected circle and up to next in upper direction. Now before that, I will roll back and I'm going to create the full round radius. Here top surface, right click this, right click this and right click. Similarly for this side, again select this, right click, select this, right click and inside surface. Now let's roll back. Now let's add the remaining geometry. So from here we need to edit the sketch. Let's draw a small 3 mm line. Let's select this and this, make them vertical. Select this line and make them coincident. Now let's trim and select this skip trim entity as a construction geometry. For that, exit the sketch. Again select the same sketch and click on extrude cut. Now instead select the inner part and this time the blind thickness is 10. Now let's hide the display of a custom plane. Now let's roll back. On the front, let's create the circular geometry. So the outer diameter is 9. Inner diameter is 3. And the middle diameter is 6. It is located from bottom at 6. Also, this center is aligned with the origin. Now let's extrude this largest circle by as given distance is, let's say the center distance 6 plus 2 means 8. Or you can create a custom plane and then extrude up to next. But in both the conditions, you require to use the dimension 2. Now let's expand and again reverse the direction and use this inner circle to create the cut. Again expand the same sketch, select this middle circle and this time we need to use offset surface to this and blind thickness to given as 2 mm and click OK. Now let's roll back. I'm gonna roll back cut. Now let's go forward. Make sure it is match with the model. Now let's find the volume. Here the volume is 2344, but our answer is 2343, which is almostly correct answer. It is within the 1% error. In practice problem 5.7, we'll draw on a right plane this sketch and circular diameter of this part, and then we'll extrude by the given dimensions. And lastly, we are going to draw this of these flat cut portions and add this small hole. Now to create this kind of a structure, we need to create this sketch. So begin sketching on right plane. So the first diameter is 12. Second diameter is 8. Now let's draw the geometry. For that, let's draw horizontal center line and then vertical center line. So let's draw. Now let's add the diameter dimensions, which is given as 3 typically. So let's trim this line. Click on mirror, select this, right click, select this and right click. Now let's do for the other part of a geometry. So this should be 3 again. Now let's click on mirror, select this, right click, select this, right click. So this is the region we are going to use for extrusion. So press shortcut S and now let's extrude in opposite direction this outer circle whose width is 3. Now let's reuse same sketch and extrude this time. Select this circle and reverse it. Now let's change the starting condition. This is the surface and line thickness is 80. Now again, let's expand same sketch we have created. This time we are going to use extrude cut, but we are going to use these portions whose depth is and condition is 13. So offset from surface. So this is our surface and it is going to be 13. And click OK. Now on this side, let's draw. Now select this outer circle and convert into entities. Now let's draw midpoint line and let's give the dimensions. So diameter is 3, so this should also going to be 3. And make sure it is horizontally aligned and also it is coincident with the outer circle. Now let's trim the additional part and let's cut. So instead it is having 11 depth. Okay. Now let's click OK. Now over here, let's start again sketch. Draw the circle. Diameter is 3. It is located from here to here at exactly at 5. Now make sure this circle and this line are tangent. Now let's select the cut. It is having 4 millimeter depth. Please read the sketch. Sorry, it's wrong. So let's correct this extrude cut. So starting condition will be this one. So this way you can correct your error. Now let's find the volume. It is 3494, which is completely correct answer. In problem 5.8, first we are going to create this extrusion, and in the top edge we are going to create a plane which is inclined from the bottom edge at 150. And on that plane we are going to draw this sketch and will extrude by given 13. Second thing we'll do for this bracket portion as well. From here we are going to draw some reference point and then we are going to create the inclined plane. Now for this inclined part you can also consider a single sketch. Here 77 can be considered, but then after 50 plus we need to consider this additional 30. So total we need to add of 80 millimeter. So either we can go in that way or we can create the external plane. So start new sketch on front. Draw a line of 77. Now let's use 3 extrude, but in upper direction, and thickness is 13. And the overall depth is 60. I need to select the midplane and click OK. Now let's create a reference plane passing through from this edge, and second reference is this surface. Instead of perpendicular, let's add the angle 150. So let's flip this and click OK. Now let's draw. This is 50. From here, let's draw semicircular arc and complete the geometry. Now let's also draw the circle, which is of 25. Now let's press shortcut key and extrude in wrong direction by 13. So let's hide this plane. Now let's create a reference geometry over here. So let's draw a center line. So from here to here it is 25, and from horizontally it is inclined at 60 degree. Now let's create the reference plane. So select this axis we have created, second plane top surface, and let's make them incline as given as 75 degree. Clear? So let's complete the creation of plane. Now let's draw the bracket part. So this is 55. From here to here it is 32. Let's also draw circle of 25. Now let's extrude by 10, but in opposite direction. Now let's hide the reference sketch. Let's measure volume. So it is 132,174, which is the correct answer. On front plane, we are going to draw this shape and we'll extrude it. Then we are going to drill these two holes. Second, we are going to create custom axis passing through this origin vertically. And then we are going to create a plane passing through that axis and incline to the either this surface or the provided orthogonal plane at 35 degree. And on that plane, we are going to draw these two circles. So start sketching on front. So let's use midpoint line. Now let's make symmetric. So this line must be symmetric about center line. Now let's add dimensions. So this is 31. Overall it is 32. This is 16 and this is 65. Let's align these two lines. Now let's extrude. Let's select midplane. Depth is 105. Now let's select the top face and create holes. So diameter is 14. Now let's draw a center line. Let's make the construction and make this horizontal. Now let's select this. Now let's align center of these circles vertically. Also, let's give center distance, which is 75. Now let's extrude cut these two circles. Now select front and right plane and click on reference geometry and axis and click OK. Now this is axis. Now click on reference plane. Now second reference will be, you can go over here and select the right plane. And let's make incline to right plane by 35 degree. Okay, so this is what we want and click OK to create the custom plane. Now on this, let's open the sketch. Here, let's draw circle having diameter 21. Similarly, the outer diameter is 30. Now let's first extrude the outer circle. Select up to surface over here, and in next direction, similarly up to surface and right click. Same way, expand the same sketch, and this time we're going to create a cut. So here, select the middle circle and right click through all both directions. Now let's add fillet. So fillet is of constant type whose value is 5. Select this edge and this edge and right click. Now let's hide the custom plane and axis. Now let's measure the volume. So here volume is 152546, but the answer is 44. So which is completely correct answer. In problem 5.10, we'll draw on top plane this sketch and extrude. And exactly on this surface, we are going to create these two holes and these two vertical tangent section. And then we'll extrude as per the given depth. So start sketching on top plane. So here, let's draw a small circle. Another circle having radius 15. Now let's draw a center line. Now let's draw a few more circles over here. Now inside, circles are having equal dimensions. Same way for outer circles. Select them and make them equal. Now let's make these bottom two circles symmetric about center line. Now let's add center distance. It is 75. And from top, it is 60. Now let's join them using tangent line. Now select this and click on mirror. Select mirror about vertical line. And let's draw the bottom line. Now let's trim out the additional part of circles. Now let's press shortcut key S and extrude. The depth is 10. So let's click OK. Now click on this front face and start sketching. Now let's use shortcut key and draw the circle having diameter 21. And this is of 32. So let's make them first vertically aligned. let's make this circle and this tangent, and let's draw a line from here over here and this one. So let's create a region. So first let's go to feature and extrude. So I need to select this one. Here I need to select offset. A distance is 30. And let's revert the blind direction and add the overall depth of 85. Obviously, because pipe is tangent to the bottom plate, so that's why we have two solid bodies. So now let's use same sketch again and click on extrude. This time let's revert direction and select this region. But here we need to select the end condition up to surface. So this is our end surface. Now let's measure the volume. It is 83961, which is completely mismatched with the given solution answer. So let's inspect what is wrong. So let's inspect sketch by sketch. Here center distance are okay, small is okay, but the outer radius is 15. So diameter is going to be 30 instead of 15. So let's rebuild this. And now let's measure volume again. So answer is 105501, which is correct answer. In problem 5.11, we'll try to create this upper part by completing the sketch in right plane. And in this front surface, we are going to add this bracket portion. And we'll add the holes. And finally, at the front, we are going to create a plane inclined at 25 degree from the front surface. Starts creating a sketch on right plane. Now let's add dimensions. This is 24. This is 110, 6. From here to here it is 35. And this radius is 3. So let's delete this and draw tangent arc. Let's give the radius 3. Now let's join. Now let's extrude. This time we'll use mid plane and the extrusion depth is 88. Now let's draw this part. Select into and convert into entities. So let's draw a circle first, having diameter 19. Let's draw a center line from here to here. Let's give dimensions. It is 40. Now let's draw center point arc. From here now let's add the fillet 25. Let's trim the remaining sketch, and now let's extrude. and this is 12. Now let's draw holes. Make sure the center is aligned. Now select these two circles and let's mirror. Now let's add center dimensions 55, and from top it is at 15. Now let's cut through all. Now let's add fillet, which is typically of 5 value. This surface and this surface. Now let's create a reference plane passing through this edge and select this and create angle of 25. So we need to flip it and click OK. So select this plane and start sketching. So here we need to draw diameter of 46 because as the radius is 23. Now let's create extrude cut. This time we'll select through both all and click OK. Now let's turn off the display of custom plane. Now let's measure the volume. So it is 208814 and in answer it is given as 119. So let's find the difference. So given answer is 28819 divided by our answer 208814. So it is much less than even 1%. So our answer is correct. In practice problem 5.12, on top we are going to draw all of this sketch and gradually we will extrude as per the requirement. And finally we are going to apply this radii. So create sketch on top. Now let's add dimensions. So this is 75. This is 13. Now let's add center line. Now let's give dimensions 85. Let's place circle over here having diameter 38 along with small circle whose diameter is 13. Let's add horizontal line. Now it is tangent. Select this and make them tangent. Now let's mirror that part. Now let's also draw a corner rectangle. Now let's make it symmetric. And thickness is 5. Now let's also draw and let's draw another line. Now let's use 3-point arc, first, second and third. Now let's add the radius, which is 45. This is 3 and make sure it is aligned horizontally. So we need to assign the distance, which is 50. Now let's extrude one by one. So press S. I will use this and I will change the direction The depth is 50. Now expand same sketch. Again, let's extrude this part, this region and this region along with the circular part. Now let's reverse it, and this time it is 8. Now let's reuse same sketch. This time I'm going to use this region, and the depth is 35 from the sketch plane. Let's reuse same sketch we have created in a first part. So here we need to offset it by 10, and let's reverse the blind depth by 30. Now let's reuse same sketch again, and this time we are going to extrude this thin strip. Here we need to select up to surface, so this is the reference. Okay, here we need to use this part as well. Now it is okay. Now let's apply fillet. The first is of 6, so this one, this corner, and this edge. Now let's apply one more radii of 25. Now let's try to measure the volume. So the volume is 1114 and the answer is 1120. So our answer is correct. In problem 5.13, we'll draw the circular part first. Then we are going to create a plane exactly 75 mm away. And on that plane, we are going to draw a rectangle, center rectangle, incline, and we'll extrude up to surface. And from the side surface, we are going to drop this hole. So select top plane and start sketching. First is of 75. Second is of 60. Now let's extrude by mid plane, and the depth is 200. Now select the right plane, press Ctrl and drag. So that shortcut will create a parallel plane, but we need to specify the distance. Now on this plane, let's open the sketch. Here I will draw 3-point rectangle. And I will draw a diagonal line to make it coincident with the origin. Now overall length is 120. Thickness is 10. And inclination is 8 degree. Now let's extrude. Instead up to surface, let's select on a wrong side and select this surface. Now let's hide this custom plane. Let's add the fillet first, which is having radius 10. Now select this and create sketch. Now let's add the circles. Diameter is 12. This circle and this circle will be equal. Now let's add one more circle and one more circle. I can create the linear pattern. So let them make equal. So from here to here it is 35. No, it's a 30. and from here to here it is 30. Now let's make these circle centers vertically aligned. Now let's also give a distance between these two 100, which is okay. Reference dimensions, because I already have used this center of this fillet. So press shortcut key and create extrude cut. Now let's measure the volume. It is 358642, which is completely right. In problem 5.14, first in top plane we are going to create these two sketch and we'll extrude it. And then we'll try to create a one plane which is parallel to this front plane and tangent to this surface. And on this surface we are going to create these two circles and we'll cut by the given depth. So start sketch on top plane. The outer diameter is 19. Inner diameter is 6. Now let's draw a vertical line which is 8 mm away. Now let's trim that part. Use this option and convert this small segment of circle into construction geometry. Now let's press S key and extrude. This time we'll use the mid plane and we'll use this small circle first, whose mid depth is 19. Again use same sketch and extrude. This time let's select this portion and the depth is 14. Now let's create a reference plane. So tangent to this surface and parallel to the front plane and click OK. Also activate the temporary axis to use as a reference. So this is what visually help us to locate the circles. So here the diameter is 10, another is 6. So go over here and let's create the cut. Instead first let's select the outer circle whose depth is given as 4. Now again expand same sketch to reuse it. This time let's clear and use smaller circle and create through holes. Now let's hide the custom plane. Also turn off the display of temporary axis. Now let's measure the volume. So answer is 3257, which is 100% correct answer. In problem 5.15, first we'll draw this base portion and then we are going to create the custom plane which is inclined to a horizontal base plate at 30 degree and passing from this edge. And on that plate we are going to draw this sketch and we'll extrude by the required depth, and for this section it is up to this surface. So on a top plane begin sketching. So let's use center point rectangle tool and the vertical dimension is 100 and horizontal is 160. Now let's add fillet. Here the radii is 15. Now let's add circles whose dimension is 12. Let's draw remaining circles and make them equal. So shortcut key and extrude. So it's not mid plane, it's line depth having 15. Now let's create the custom plane. So choose this edge, and second reference, here we need to add angles, which is 30. Now on this plane, start sketching. So let's draw a circle first, whose diameter is 30. Another diameter is of 15. And one more diameter is of 75. So from here to here, this is at 100. Also, this should be a line. Now let's add on the right side, the circle is of 13. Another of 30. Now let's draw center line. And let's provide the distance. Now here the center distance is not given, but the circle is aligned on this bottom edge. Now let's draw horizontal line like this, and let's trim. All right. Now let's add fillet of 15. So this is 15 and click OK. Now also add a lines, and for that, before that, let's join center line. Now from here up to this, let's create a line. Now let's add dimensions, which is 35. Now select this and mirror the entities. Now let's trim this part. And then also add the fillet. Now let's make this vertical. So base sketch is ready. Now let's extrude one by one. Before that, let's add few more things which we require to add. Now let's add diameter dimensions 15. So let's remove this part. Now let's mirror the entities. We need to close this bottom edge. So let's draw. Now let's extrude again. This region, this one. Now here instead reverse it and up to next. So click OK. Again expand same sketch and extrude this time this outer region. But the depth is 15. Now let's turn off the display of this custom plane. Now let's measure the volume. 386988, which is completely not matched with the given solution answer. So let's verify where we wrong. Now here one doubt is that this hole must be through hole. Here I haven't created that through hole. So let's try that part. So we need to select that region to extrude from first extrusion. Now again, let's select that part and create extrude cut. This time I will use this, and through hole will be the condition. Now, so we have a through hole here. Now let's measure the volume. So 374749, which is a complete match with the solution answer. In problem 5.16, by looking at the object, it is very simple. Just draw this section and extrude it by certain depth up to this. Then create a line. But the problem is that philosophy is not going to work here, because we require overall height and then we require this kind of a line to remove the material. But here only the depth is given up to, here only height is given up to this point, right? So how can we remove material over here and we can add here? So instead we will use the philosophy of reference geometry. So first, from this top plane, we are going to create a plane at 110 distance apart. And from the right or front plane, with that custom plane, we are going to create a horizontal axis. And from that horizontal axis, we are going to create another plane which is inclined at 30 degree with respect to top plane. And after that and top plane, we are going to draw this sketch and we'll extrude up to the plane. So click top plane, make sure it is visible. Now press Ctrl and drag this and make sure the distance is 1110 and click OK. Now let's say right plane and this new plane and create the axis. So this is the axis which we want. Now let's create one more plane passing through from this axis, and either you can choose this top plane or either that plane 1. So let's choose this plane and make it incline at 32 degree. But let's flip the options, right? So let's click OK. So planes are basically infinite, so you can drag these endpoints. Now let's select the top plane and create the sketch. So I will use the center point rectangle. Here the overall width is 60 and length is 1000. Now let's add fillet. So it is 10. Now let's offset by 5. It should be reversed and select chain option must be ticked on. Now let's extrude. Now here up to surface. Okay. So let's select this plane which we have created, right? So either surface or plane. So let's click OK. Now let's measure the volume. So it is 157918, which is complete match. But here the orientation of model is not matching with the solution answer. So let's try to play with it and try to get it what is given. So this is sketch, this is 100. This is 60. And let's update it. Now let's create this axis and edit it. So it's a combination of right. Instead, let's remove this and add the front plane. Now it is okay. Now let's turn off the display of all reference geometry. Now it is okay. Let's also turn off the display of top plane. Now the orientation of model is complete. Now let's measure the mass. So it is again same answer.